Guys, what's up? This is episode 2 of the Estovir podcast. Cause it's a pleasure as usual.
Yes, sir.
How
Pleasure
was
is all mine.
how was your week?
Ooh. Well, do we want to get into that? But it was okay in the simplest form. It was okay. I can complain, but in the world of men, who the
Hmm,
hell cares?
deep, deep. Who the hell cares? I think for me it's crazy how we're already doing the second episode. 1 week has come and 1 week has gone. We're already on episode 2. Time is flying, guys. What are you doing with your time?
Wow, deep. Exactly. What are you doing with your time?
Yeah.
Self-assessment, introspection.
Hmm. Today's topic. Today's topic. Please, guys, prick your ears up. Do women really want vulnerable men? That is today's topic. Guys, listen, and listen good. I mean, let's clear the air. What is vulnerability? What is this thing that I've been hearing for the past few years now? It's all vulnerability, all shudders, fudgy feelings and stuff. What is vulnerability?
To be honest, um, I think we all have like blind spots, right? And or things we're not comfortable with, the things that are just we're not comfortable with, we're not relaxed with, and I think the exposure of that, I think it's an embarrassment when it's exposed by others,
Hmm.
but when it's exposed by yourself, right? Within a trusted space or not, I think that's what I'll call vulnerability. You exposing things you're uncomfortable with or unsure of, or things that you're not um, quite secure in yet to other people willingly all by yourself in an environment where you believe. In fact, I think it's irrelevant of the environment whether it's trusted or not. I think
Hmm.
vulnerability doesn't care about the environment. You just exposing
Yeah,
it by yourself. Yeah.
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 And I mean, these days, I'm really hearing about vulnerability. My office spaces, the past four places I've worked in, I've heard the ladies talk about men and how they want men to be more vulnerable. I was talking with someone, a girl, and we are talking about the last time we cried. And then, the last time I'd cried was about, I think, 8, 9, 10 years before. And they
Hmm.
were all looking like, dude, why, how? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? So my next question, what does society expect of us men? Because I hear women say one thing, but then society kind of says something else. I'm a bit confused. And I'm sure there's so many men who are listening to this that need some guidance. So what does society expect of us?
To be honest, man, let's start with this. Don't listen to whatever people say. Watch what they respond to. I'm
Hmm.
going to start with that, right? So, because people say a lot of things based on wherever they are, their mental state, their emotional state, whatever state they're in, they will say whatever. But watch them over time, and then you see what they really respond to. Because, I don't think people like to walk against the crowd nowadays. So it's easy
Yeah,
to go with a trend, right?
yeah.
I believe that. So in the world of the so-called new world of inclusiveness, what's that word they use in the corporate corporate arenas now? Um, the inclusive, and this terminology that's
I
out
don't
there.
even know. There's so many right now.
Exactly.
There's
So
so many right now.
like a kumbaya world. Let's hold
Hmm.
hands and kumbaya anyway. So
Hmm.
what well, I think first of all, like I believe that if you're gonna be vulnerable, then you have to first of all read the room, know your crowd, right? Know know who you're talking to, and then find a space and time, and then
Hmm.
be able to be. I believe that it's a very, I wouldn't say dangerous, but I think that women, just to follow what you said, women are going to say, I want him to be vulnerable. But do they even know what a vulnerable man looks like? they actually seen one? Do they understand the variations of vulnerability? Do they understand that I don't I'll give you a quick example.
Sure,
Have,
man.
have you been seeing wedding videos lately online on IG where
Mhm.
the little girl is walking up the aisle
The
and the
guy's crying.
men are bawling, well, crying. Crying is
Yeah.
what babies do when they're hungry. These guys are pretty much going like who those guys from Lion King, Umber and
Timon.
when they go exactly.
Oh man.
Exactly. Man, and I started asking myself questions, right?
Hmm.
How is how come this is the case? It means, from my own understanding, and I'm gonna throw some personal vulnerability there as well, just to spice things up a little
Okay,
bit, right?
okay, okay.
Good. And I'm asking myself, like, why? How come these dudes are? And I feel like what's going on is it's not. I think the world, like social media, has given us a platform where people like before you used to go to school, go to church, come back to the house, and whatever it is that you're feeling, you can take home and deal with it. Right now, the world can access you 24/7.
Yeah,
You you know what I mean? So you
yeah.
can post whatever. People can get to you, ask you questions, send you messages 24 freaking 7, right? So I think you can't really escape anymore. So you hold I think you I think we wear the mask a lot longer than we
Hmm.
normally would, right? Which is almost like 24/7. So I think vulnerability comes for men when they feel safe or feel like they've achieved something, right? And then all of a sudden, emotions you don't even know that you had. It's almost like that's my queen walking down the aisle. That's mine. You were mine. And all of a sudden, boom. You can't even control it anymore because you're
Hmm.
carrying so much that you don't even know about.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
But that's a manosphere conversation. Now, when it comes to you and the women, although I will maybe wait for this to the next question as we go along, but do women want vulnerability? Personally, I don't think they're capable of handling a man being that vulnerable. Why? Because it pretty much takes over their space
Do you
of
get?
vulnerability.
No offense to anyone, or no offense to anyone, ladies, but I swear this is the truth. This is the damn truth.
I
I
think it
think
takes up their space, to be honest. Yeah.
I was thinking about it because I was thinking through the topic last night. I was like, oh, this is what we're going to discuss. What we're going to do. And then something struck me. I was like, hey, man, women want vulnerable men. So a guy who is going through tough times and he feels like weeping every day, he's going to go on her lap and, oh my God, I feel so bad. My boss was a bitch to me. And he weeps on her laps for a week. Man, I think I should throw this out to the ladies. If there's any lady listening to this, can you handle your man weeping on your laps 7 days of the week, every evening when he gets home from work? Are you going to be cool with that? Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to us. Give us your thoughts. Crazy. I think I'll just do a quick recap of what you said, or something big you said when I asked, what does society expect from us men? And you said something that struck me. Read the room, know your crowd. You can't just go being vulnerable all around the room, all about the place. You need to know your crowd. I really respect that deep. My
Thank you.
next quick question, and I think we've already gone through it, but the difference between vulnerability and neediness. So this is
Oh,
something men need to get clear. What is the difference between being vulnerable and being needy? How do we strike a balance? Because the world is evolving and it seems to be trying to shoot down the cavemen, the original man. I mean, look
gotcha.
back to the Gillette adverts that they started with back in the days and what they turned it into.
Yeah,
The
okay.
man, the real man, the traditional man is being killed. How do we balance vulnerability and neediness?
Again, with the vulnerability part, like I, I would say that for you to be vulnerable, like I think a man can be, and I think you can be with your lady. I just think that there needs to be time and space, and you need to. For me, I'd say I need to let you know. I'm gonna tell you something like Like for me, what I would say is I'm gonna have a weak moment right now, right?
Mm,
And that is like saying a space in time. I'm gonna have a weak moment right now, right? And then you say what you want to say, and if you need to break down, and after that, wipe your eyes, and then give her your solutions to the problem.
exactly. You freaking hit it.
Do you understand? And I feel
Yeah.
like that makes her feel like, oh my God, he has opened up to me, but he's in charge and in control. You get what I mean?
Exactly.
And it goes down to the primal safety and security that she needs to feel. I believe this, right? That my man's in charge, my man's in control, and then you go back
Yeah.
there. That is vulnerability without the neediness, right? That's
Yeah.
I think that kind of makes it happen. Now, I think you also need to be taught this because I don't see fathers out there sitting sons down going like, son, there's a time to be vulnerable and there's a time to be needy. Like
So
I
it's
don't
only in the
know.
movies.
You know what I mean? Very few fathers have time to do that. So you
So,
pretty much have to
it's-
learn this all by yourself, right?
mm,
So the neediness is, and there's a chapter to this where we can talk about this later, where even within the um, manosphere, like mentorship and who teaches you this and how you do that, but that's a different topic altogether.
mm,
When it comes to neediness, right? I'll give you a quick example. I'll use myself as an example. Had a relationship, engaged, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, because it's not like when you meet somebody and you believe like this is the person. And we'll have another conversation about the one later on a different that's a different topic. Is there
the
such thing
war.
as the one, right? But for me, and that's the way we're wired from birth, depending on what family you grew up in, right? The one, right? And so you decide that this person is the person who's going to make your life complete. And this is, remember when I told you guys ball their eyes out because you men don't, we're not wired emotionally all the time unless you're brought up that way. So when a man decides that this is the person they're going to marry, I think 8 times or 7 times out of 10, it's a very deep
Mad,
decision, right?
crazy.
It's not
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah.
Even you might listen. How many times do you see your dude have a wife? Sometimes they even talking to other girls, being a fool or whatever. But as soon as you venture near that thing that they call wife, the whole the whole world
God
stops,
blazing. God
right?
blazing.
Sorry.
Guns blazing, man.
Exactly.
They're ready to
That's
go.
so anyway, back to neediness. The difference between that is when things didn't work out, I mean, we're in separate ways. I was feeling like this is a decision that had to be made. Things were going this way, things were going that way. That was the man in me talking.
Mm,
But over time, I realized that I was feeling things I had never felt before. Now, this is me being vulnerable. I'm exposing a point in time that these things happen. And bro, not a word of a lie. I was watching. What was I watching? A movie, and the girl was walking down the aisle, and lo and behold, here's tears falling down my eyes. I'm like, what the hell? what
mm,
the hell is going on here?
mm,
You know
mm,
what I mean? So you don't even know what pokes holes in you as a, and then I can be vulnerable about that and say that that has opened me up, that I feel things more than I used to, and I didn't even know it happened. However, do I sound like a guy who's not in control, even though I'm being vulnerable?
mm.
Exactly. Now, neediness, and that's how I explain vulnerability. Neediness is now me. And I use examples because I don't have a clear definition of what neediness is. That's why I use examples so people can define it in their own words. Now, neediness, as far as I'm concerned, is now requiring something that is external, whether another human being,
Aha.
right? Right?
Aha.
And constantly requiring something external, whether it's another
Mm,
human being, whatever it is, to plug those holes. So I'm constantly reaching out, and I feel neediness leads to addiction, right? And
mm,
obsession. You get what I mean? Because you're looking for something to plug those holes constantly, whether bombarding your friends 24/7 about, oh, she did this and oh, she did that.
Mm,
Oh, and you keep talking about this. Okay, you don't have a solution to it. You're on it 24/7. Like, bro, um, as much as everybody loves you, there's a length amount of time they can actually just keep sitting
yeah,
down there and listening
they
to
get
you
tired of your bullshit.
complain. And there's a that human beings are not wired that way. There's only so much they can take before they go like, yo, yeah. If it's a girl, they'll probably, either send you to church to go and cry and jump. Or, if they're terrible, they'll start looking for another man for you immediately so that you can forget him real
Yeah,
quickly. But
yeah.
yeah, so I think that's the difference between, so I think in a nutshell, vulnerability is from internal to the outside, and neediness is from external to the inside. Plugging holes. That's what I
Crazy
look
deep.
at.
Crazy deep, man. Crazy deep, I swear. I just pricked something in quickly. Oh, that sounded odd. I just dropped something in quickly. Uh,
This guy.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, so this is to every guy who's listening to this right now. There is nothing wrong in being vulnerable. Be vulnerable. We even encourage it. However, read the goddamn room. Know
Mm,
your goddamn crowd.
exactly.
I was talking with a friend of mine a while back, a very good friend of mine. We've been friends for about 15 years, maybe more. And I was telling him about some big issues I was having. I also recently went through a breakup. And I was telling him about stuff that happened. And dude, I told him this. I think this is the first time I told a fellow man that I wept. I told
Mm,
him, I was like, dude, man, I've been crying for 3 days.
roger
And he
that.
says, and I was shocked with his response. And this is to every other man. You can try it. I don't know if it will work for you, but it
Mhm.
worked for me. He said, Chidum, go into your toilet. Be you at the office, be you at home. Go into your toilet. Take off all your clothes. When he was saying this, I thought it was insane.
Damn.
Take off all your clothes and weep. Let it out. Weep.
Roger, roger that.
First, I was like, this dude is crazy.
Hmm.
And then 10 minutes later, I'm in my toilet weeping.
Roger
I'm
that.
weeping. And then I felt reborn. I felt like a fetus. I'm like, God damn.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. I let this bad energy out. What next? And I started trying to build new habits. I started trying to learn new skills. And I'm like, that dude at that moment was
Hmm.
my room. He was my crowd. Of course, I had conversations with you too, cause and
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
of course.
every man needs a tribe. You need a tribe. You need to have people around you who are like-minded, who are more experienced, who can guide you, who you can
Roger,
trust,
Roger, Roger that.
who are
Manosphere.
also on the same
Yeah.
emotional level as you. No offense to ladies. No offense to ladies, but ladies are more emotional than men on the average.
Yeah.
Studies have shown. Don't ask me what
Hmm.
codes. Go on Google and check. Studies have
Hmm.
shown
I
ladies
mean,
are on the
man,
average
just
way more
look at
emotional
your
than men.
sisters and your cousins and everything and
You
do
know,
your own
you know.
statistics. So you don't need to go far.
We got the stats right here.
Exactly. So just go look around. Go your former school, your classmates. Just look around, read the room.
Dude, dude. So I think I would pull all the next few questions into one so that we can round up for everyone. I
Roger
think
that.
my last question would be, so I mean, as we've been talking, the room, the crowd, being vulnerable, pushing away neediness,
Hmm.
how do we now know who to be vulnerable to? Of course, we have to be vulnerable to sensible people.
Yeah.
But now the discussion is about women. Do women really want vulnerable men? So my final question now is, who is a sensible woman? Who is a trustworthy woman? Who is that woman that we can see, pick, point, and trust with our vulnerability? And you said it's not about listening, it's about seeing the person's actions. So
Yeah.
how do we find that person? Who is that person?
To be honest, that's a tough one because the world, like I said, the world is in disarray right now, as far as I'm concerned. Like
It is, man.
there's a transition going on, but it's going in a crazy, like you talked about feminism last
Mm,
podcast.
mm,
masculinity and all that, and the discombobulation of it, like all, and the people's interpretation. Now, looking at the world of how overly hypersexual it's become, and the
Mm,
only set of people that can hold responsible for that are women, because they're the ones who, they say women hold the keys to sex and men hold the keys to marriage, right? Um, and I feel like in a world that is like that, that is hypersexual and overly sexualized, and men are walking around more, let's say, like more triggered and ready, or than ever. I feel like you would have to look really close and, boss bitch, bad bitch can't relate.
I hate that stuff, man. I hate that stuff, man. Sorry to jump in, but see, guys, girls, whoever you are out there, anytime I see babes or talking about girls, like oh my bitches, oh my, it irritates the hell out of me. And sorry, that's not how you should regard your friends. People who are close to you, you're calling them bitches. I don't see my guy and I call him a bastard. I don't, man. I don't.
Come to think
Sorry for
about it,
jumping in, man. It just struck me
actually,
cold.
there's a brand, right now. I'm gonna tell you later, off episode, called Bitches and Bastards. I'm not joking. It actually
Oh,
exists. And I
God.
saw the domain because I know the person that bought the domain for this, right? And it's coming to
Damn.
I'm
Damn.
telling you, I think it's gonna launch next year. Anyway, carry on. They might be our sponsor one day.
Dude, just look at that.
Oh, bitches and
Crazy. Sorry,
bastards.
Joe, you were saying some.
Um, so where was I? It was just my chain of thought now. We're talking about, okay, yeah, boss bitch, bad bitch, and
Mm,
I think the next one would be obviously where you want to go. Now, personally, for dude with vulnerability, um, I don't think it should be your. I personally, I don't think it should be a girl first. I think it
deep.
should. I don't think it should be. I think that, like I said, you don't know what that. Remember this. In fact, let's start with this. Your wife. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. My opinion. My opinion.
Mm,
Remember this, right? Before you go all, oh my God, what is he saying? I
mm,
don't think when your wife came to you to meet you, right, and decided that I'm going to say yes to this man, and we will probably never know all the reasons why she said that. We can only go with the ones that we think, right?
I swear. I swear.
So, so let's say security, safety, you are decent looking because they want someone pleasant to look at, or even
Mm,
though I don't think people can be ugly in this world anymore, because between makeup and the gym and clothing, everybody is looking good. but
that's deep.
but topic for another day. Um, so I think that safety, security, all of that, and then there comes the sexual attraction, right? Because I think that sex is very
It should be
important.
fundamental, yeah. The
I
attraction.
understand
Yeah.
it is. I think sexuality plays a big role, right?
Mm,
And if we're looking at the world as it is right now, I think that we now can safely say that women are extremely sexual beings. And the reason the church was saying wait till you get married to start having sex is that there's a safe place for you to let loose.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
But because letting loose on the world creates chaos, and
Chaos, man.
and chastity and all of that goes out the window. And we'll get into conversation about DNA and what stays in your body and how long it stays for, and research and blah 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 blah. But now I
Mm,
understand why all religions were trying to preserve a woman's purity and chastity, because that energy is chaotic if you let it loose on the world, and it's not in a safe place. But that's not what we're talking about right now.
mm.
So anyway, so I don't think it should be the woman first, because I feel like you don't, I think the woman is not even aware of if that could kill polarity. Maybe she's put you on a certain pedestal and she's
Yeah.
not yet there yet to understand or mature enough, or how many conversations do you think women have about, oh, has your husband been vulnerable to you? Has he cried tremendously? Has he told you he doesn't
Hmm.
handle A, B, and C? I don't think you have to understand how many of them are equipped for that, because it's like when you do that, you represent at that particular moment, you're doing what their child would do with them.
Ouch.
I'm just saying. I'm not
Ouch.
saying. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what it represents. The last time they saw that
That's a crazy
was,
perspective, man.
the last time they probably saw that in the house was probably
Hmm.
their younger one,
That's
somebody they're
true.
older than,
That's
crying out to them,
true.
or their girlfriends. So psychologically,
Hmm.
and I'm not saying this has not been tested to be sure, but think about it. Psychologically, the only time that happens is when they're in charge of someone or in care of someone. So their girlfriends, their children, their younger cousins will come to them, their sisters will break down. Do you think they've seen their dads bawling out and crying in front of them like that? I
Hmm.
doubt it. Do you
Hmm.
think, assuming that the last person they were with, depending on where they were they like that? Have they ever seen that? Did that build attraction? Did that build make them closer? And if that's the case, why are they not with that person today?
Simple.
You know, so many things I throw in there, and I go like, your wife is not even, or your lady is not even aware of where she is emotionally about that. She
Hmm.
can say a lot of stuff because she hasn't experienced it yet, right?
Hmm.
I think that you talk to your dudes first. You know who your dudes are. And from a masculine perspective, they will give you a very masculine dude-like solutions,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
women have never been men. So what the solutions, what do you want them? The only thing they can say is it's gonna be all right. Keep your head here, relax, safety. Yep. Your wife, as far as I'm concerned, is not your boy. It's your
Hmm.
wife, right? And I think that
Yeah.
that position needs a little bit of much more respect and attention and preservation than I think we have let off. So it's
Hmm.
not a place where, I'm not saying you can't lay your head down or chill, but I don't think it's a place where, like, I think that when you go there, you have to speak freely, but at the same time, there has to be some kind of like a decorum where you make sure that you preserve her as well. So I believe this. So talk to your boys first, I think, and then if you ever are gonna break down in front of your lady, I think you need to say. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes when you lose somebody, soldiers, all of these things, like when you go to war, you come back. Sometimes, man, you just can't help it. Things happen,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and they have to understand. That's when you have to know. You'll know if you have a strong woman or not.
Hmm.
But
Deep.
anyway, in a nutshell, yeah, talk to your boys first, and then if you must speak to your lady about that, tell her that you're gonna have a vulnerable moment, and either you go away and have it, or stay there, have it, and then wipe your eyes and say, right, okay, right, and then take control of it, take control of
Yeah.
yourself again, because I think it still builds confidence in her. Because if you go to pieces, I'm not saying she's not strong enough to pick it up, but I don't think generally that's what she's there for.
Yeah. Yeah. Deep. Deep. Wow. Gentlemen, you guys are listening to, you're listening to break down, be vulnerable, but bring your solution in your backpack. Have a
Mm.
solution with you. Don't just go with your whiny little yeah. I won't complete that, but I think we all know that. Man, dudes, this is what we have. This is what we have for today. Please stay tuned, join in, drop your comments. I am definitely going to have to push a poll on this. At a point, I was even thinking if I would literally go and interview a couple of women and hear what they have to say. I think that would be really cool. I
That'll
hope I can get to do
be
that
awesome.
really soon,
That'll be
and I'd
awesome.
love to hear what they say. In fact, I will put it up, put it upon myself to
Yeah,
get that done. I will chat with at least 5 different women. We'll have a
yeah.
quick video, quick audio, and I'll share it with people. but
And
I'll push it.
another thing is this: are they gonna be honest? Because this is gonna be air in public. Can they actually be honest
So
about
let's wait and see.
it?
Let's
Okay,
wait and see. I
cool.
think the first person I ask is my mom.
Really?
Oh
That would
God.
be interesting. That is actually interesting because that's true. Because you do different generations and then hear
Deep
what they gotta say. You
thoughts,
know,
thoughts. I like that. Exactly. Ooh, I would do that. Nice one.
Roger that.
Nice one. Man, cause as
Yes, sir.
always, man, it's been a crazy pleasure. It's been a
Yes,
crazy
sir.
pleasure.
My
Let's
pleasure,
keep
man.
doing this. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep
Absolutely.
being
Roger that.
blessed, man. All right, guys. Take care. One love. Subscribe, like, share. Au revoir.
Bye.